Hi guys, you're now tuned into the Super Producer Podcast with Gregory Martin. I'm your host, Gregory Martin, award-winning producer and entrepreneur. On this podcast, we discuss filmmaking and other hot topics in the entertainment industry. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at SuperProducerGM. Now, let's begin the podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. As the intro said, I am your host, Gregory Martin, and I am back with podcast episode number 2. I hope you guys have had a great day today. I know I've had a I wouldn't say interesting, but I will say I woke up a little bit excited this morning. Excuse me. I just drank some water. But I'm really happy, mainly because of basketball. The NBA season started back up last night, and I'm really excited that we are kind of getting back into some type of normalcy with sports playing. You know, I know basketball just started up, baseball just started up as well, and I believe hockey started yesterday as well. I'm not that big of I'm not that much of a hockey fan these days, but I am happy to see sports are happening. I know that 5 months that sports NBA more specifically took off was really just a downer with everything that was going on. It was such a downer not to have that release. And so now that the sports are coming back, I feel that, you know, and maybe I'm speaking for myself, but I know friends of mine, things like that, you know, we're really glad that sports are back and that we can, you know, occupy our times or our minds with other things. Because I know when the NBA season left off, it was getting pretty exciting to see the placing with the teams. And so last night's 2 games, the Utah versus New Orleans and Lakers versus the Clippers, were a really great start to get back into the season. You know, both games were really good games. I think at this time, it doesn't really matter if you're a fan of these teams. I'm pretty sure. Well, there's a lot of Laker fans and Clippers fans, but like, you know, normally I wouldn't watch a Utah New Orleans game. But for me, anything nowadays sports related, sign me up. You know, I'm there to watch that, especially with, you know, the NFL season. I wouldn't say in jeopardy, but I'm really cautious about what's going to happen with that season. You know, me and my buddies, we play fantasy football we've been playing this in the same league for about 8 or 9 years. And so this is the first time that, you know, our season appears to be in jeopardy. And, you know, a lot of us are just very disinterested because we just don't know what's going to happen with people, with players opting out, which is their right to do that. You know, safety obviously comes first. But all in all, I'm so happy that sports are back, and it's really good to see that this experiment that the NBA and some other sports leagues have implemented are working. This bubble, this concept of isolating players, coaches, you know, and people who are crucial to get these sports running. You know, they're locked up and creating an environment where, you know, is really strict, and you know who's in there, who's coming and going, and you can, I guess, you know, effectively defeat the virus, or not necessarily, not defeat the virus, but, you know, limit the risk of the virus entering with certain protocols. And it's cool to see that this is working, because I now see a way forward, potentially for the film industry. And I know a few people have already started working on that. For instance, one thing that was really interesting, I know a lot of people were interested in seeing, is the whole Tyler Perry experiment. Because you know, you know, if people don't know, you know, he has this large studio that he created down in Atlanta, and he, you know, instead of like, you know, packing up and delaying production on a lot of his shows, he decided to go forward with two of his sitcoms. I forget the names, the names of them. I think one is called like Sisters or something like that. So, you know, I know he outlined a plan for them to do the production where pretty much everybody who was on that show, from crew to actors, you know, were getting tested. You know, they were all staying in one central location. Everything was happening on his soundstage, and they were going to knock out these episodes on his studio once they cleared the necessary protocols that they put in place. And it was really cool because recently, I believe I believe um, yesterday or the day before, he announced that they had finished filming, and they finished filming. I want to say something ridiculous like 22 episodes in 2 weeks. I'm not sure if that was for both shows or just one show, but like to do that many, I mean, hours of television in that short time frame, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But it also seems like it's the necessary thing that people have to do, and the precautions that we as creators and, you know, just people who want to work and things of that nature, we have to take to keep ourselves safe and keep our family members safe and keep others safe. So it's really interesting to see that he pulled this off successfully. Um, because I've heard stories, you know, where obviously the film industry is definitely taking into account what's going on. I was actually speaking to a producer a couple weeks ago, and he was just telling me a project that he is filming in California, about just the additional cost added to his production with having to test 2 or 3 times a day, uh, every day, and then all of the, you know, hand sanitizers and things like that. I think he told me the number for, I forget how many people he had on has on the crew, but basically the expense to for testing was an additional almost $1 million, or like $800,000 just to provide testing constantly, which is like just crazy, just a crazy additional expense. And then on top of that, the insurance that, you know, the production insurance that he would typically get, the premiums rose like to from like 3% to about like 8 or 9%, which are huge numbers on, a few $1 million picture. So it's really interesting to see, you know, someone who has the capacity like a Tyler Perry to do everything at his own studio, to get a series done. I can only imagine the amount of um, weight that he had on his shoulder uh, to get that in the can. And from what I read, he had a lot of great help. I know I saw that he enlisted like Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who's like a regular on CNN, and so I'm really optimistic. I know that I'm eager to start filming. I know a lot of people around me, and just speaking to people who I talked to at this last um, this virtual Cannes film market a few weeks ago. I know I know they're willing. I mean, sorry. I know that a lot of people are just really hungry to start shooting, and and hopefully seeing that, you know, how other people treat the pandemic, and how other people's experience help mold them in their efforts to create a safe working environment for everybody involved, all the creatives. So I think that seems really promising. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that extrapolates into productions happening the rest of the year and into next year. The next thing that I want to discuss is one thing that I saw, and I'm really excited about. Like I said, this has just been really an exciting day, actually an exciting week of just really positive things. The Umbrella Academy season 2 just dropped today on Netflix, and I feel like this was way overdue. I feel that I'm not sure if don't recall if it dropped in 2018 or last year, but whatever. It really felt like it's been forever since the first season dropped, and I know I've been waiting for this particular season for a long time. Another show that I'm waiting to come back, hopefully it comes back, is Mindhunter. That's one of my other favorite shows on Netflix. But I started watching Umbrella Academy this morning while I was doing working on my laptop. And so far, I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but so far the season is really exciting. Really good. I can definitely see the transition, the growth from season 1 to season 2, not just from the characters. The characters are all really good characters, and like I said, because I haven't seen the show, and like I said, I want to say it's been 2 years since season 1 came out, and I forgot all about these characters when I first started watching episode 1 on season 2. But as the episode kept going forward, I said, "Oh yes, that that this person was this and that, whatever," and it really just kind of like whet my appetite even more. Like I've already gotten through like half the season already. Just because it's been really good. Just the characters, the characters and like the story is something that typically when I saw this thumbnail for the Umbrella Academy, I thought it was just another kind of cheap attempt at like just like these companies acquiring material, and especially material more geared towards the young adult crowd. Even like I said, this part is not really my demographic, but I can see where it kind of crosses over to that person who enjoys sci-fi, edgy comic book type fare. And so this series, to my surprise, has lived up to everything that is billed from season 1. I know season 1 took me a long time to get through, but I know those last few episodes really got me hooked, enticed, and I just can't wait. I'm definitely going to do a review on this film. I'm sorry, on this series once I'm done with it. But definitely, I am excited for this to be back, and that's one thing I will say during this entire quarantine / stay at home order. Well, quarantine is stay at home, the same thing. But this really not being able to interact with people as much as we would normally do. I will say there's been a lot of great TV like this. With everything that's going on, like I think if you remove the circumstances, I think you could still say that this year has probably been one of the best for TV. You have this show that came out. You had Ozarks come out. I really liked Warrior Nun. If people have not seen that series, I really enjoy that series, Warrior Nun. What else? Tiger King. I mean, Watchmen. Like, there's just been a ton of great television, and yeah, it sucks to be or not have the ability to really go out and experience the outside as we would want to. But if the TV series or the movies that have been released on these streaming platforms have sucked, I think that would have probably exacerbated things a little bit more, in my opinion. People get stir crazy. And definitely without sports, I think it just would have been just a nightmare. But I'm really glad that we have that saving grace of these great TV shows, and so far so good on season 2 of Umbrella Academy. Like, it is, I'm so disappointed. I mean, I actually didn't want to record this today because I didn't want to interrupt me watching the show, but hey, things have to be done. Sacrifices have to be made sometimes. So I'm really happy to that show is out, and I know there's some more shows coming out on Netflix very soon that I'm really excited about, and hopefully this continues until the end of the year, until we can all get back to you know going outside and doing what we want to do. But I'm really happy about that. Another series that I actually saw. Now, yeah, I think it's a series. So I really don't know how I feel about this one, but they are making a TV series called Ratchet, Ratcheted, or I'm not sure, based on the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So they're making a prequel from that for that movie, specifically focused on Nurse Ratchet. And Nurse Ratchet will be played by the lovely, talented Sarah Paulson. She's like one of my favorite actresses today. Like, I think she's extremely underrated. And I'm so happy that she's going to be playing the role of the nurse. But I'm also I'm also kind of torn because it's one of these things where I always feel sometimes, honestly, what it is, I just don't want them to fuck it up. In all honesty, because that movie is a classic movie. I didn't watch it. Obviously, I mean, I'm not. I think that movie came out in like the 50s or 60s or whatever. So I watched it much later in life, but after seeing it, like I really understood why people loved Jack Nicholson. Like, I enjoyed it. I enjoy The Shining, and I always enjoy watching Jack Nicholson's work. But after seeing that movie, I could really tell why he's so revered as he was as an actor. He's not dead. As an actor, him, Danny DeVito. Who else is in that movie? There's a lot of names in that movie, who've gone on to do some really great stuff. But I'm really torn about this movie because the series, because I really don't want them to mess it up at all. Like, that was such an iconic movie, such a great movie, and they're making this prequel and about Nurse Ratchet, and I just always feel some type of way, about people doing that, making prequels that for shows or movies that really aren't necessarily called for or clamored for. However, I will say that they do have a great person who's executive producing the series. Ryan Murphy. Ryan Murphy is, he's one of those iconic TV producers, with the American Horror Story series, and things like that. And so, and the other thing that kind of gave me reservation is I don't want this to be an extension of that series. So I was looking through the cast list when I saw the announcement the other day. I was making sure that Evan Peters wasn't in this series, because it really would have felt like the American Horror Story, just like an extended universe of it. I mean, I really like Evan Peters as an actor. I mean, we have a love-hate relationship, me and him. I hate his characters, but I hate his characters because he's such a great actor. So so there's a love-hate relationship there. But apparently this series is supposed to be a little bit more darker than I guess the original film. So I think it's so I don't know. I really don't know what to expect with this one. I think I'll definitely watch it, but I just don't. I don't know how that translates. Having this story darkened a bit, but I'm really eager to see what he pulls off, what the character's development is, and how they try to tie the series into the original movie. I think that's going to be a very interesting thing for them to do, but I'm here for it. So we just have to be on lookout for that. I didn't get the date for the release of that show, but I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of fanfare, commercials and things of that nature once that show actually drops. The last thing, if you're not following me on my YouTube channel, shame on you. But I dropped a new video yesterday about how to produce a ultra low budget film. And I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with the video. I've been trying some different things to make the videos a little bit more interesting. The only thing that really sucked about doing this video is, so I record the video, or I record most of my YouTube videos with my cell phone, and I use this particular app that allows me to really control the light, the picture quality, and things of that nature. Really help me to export the video in 4K, which really isn't needed, but but because it's there, I like to use it. And for some reason, I was having so many issues with my storage because the files are so much bigger. So like say a cut or take would be 35 minutes long. That would be 35 gigabytes of space that takes up. And so because I try to be conscious of how much space these videos take up, I try to make sure I export them to my editing workstation so that I don't, lose a file or something happens where the video doesn't record all the way, because I've had that happen before in the past, and it really pissed me off. So imagine recording over an hour of content that you need to cut and losing part of it. And it just kept happening day after day, where it was an issue for me. And I was this close to just saying F it and, put it out whenever I'm in a better mood. But I was able to finally find a way to get everything into the workstation and get it edited and things of that nature. So I'm happy to have it finally up and for you guys to watch and just kind of hear my thoughts on producing a ultra low budget film, because for me, producing my first ultra low budget film, an ultra low budget film was my first foray into filmmaking. That was my first opportunity to make a feature film after, doing short films, working with documentaries, doing some stage plays where I produced and directed like some very black box theater. So getting this opportunity to make this feature film was such a great deal and a big deal for me. And it was also a very stressful, and it was a headache at times. And it only makes sense that, recording the video to talk about my experience was a headache as well. So I think it was very serendipitous of my experience making that film. But if you want to go over to my YouTube channel, just search Gregory Martin. You can check out that video about how I made my first feature film, the things that I did to make it to the finish line, some of these struggles, some of the drama that occurred during that whole process, and I think it's a really good video, and I really enjoy speaking about my experiences, because I feel that they are very helpful for filmmakers, especially younger filmmakers, who sometimes think it's a very paint a rosy picture of everything, when that necessarily that isn't necessarily the case all the time. So yeah, please check that out. Check out my other videos as well while you're there. I think that's all I have for you guys today. I am still exploring the ways that I am putting this podcast together, so please bear with me. As you can see, like I am actually reading from a not a script, but like notes, just so I can keep everything in order. But right now, I only have about 5 topics right now that I'm speaking on, and hopefully I'm able to expand upon those in a way that's exciting for you guys to to listen to. So if you have any thoughts, please, I enjoy feedback. Feedback is the only way that I will get any better and progress as a podcaster. So if any constructive criticism is very welcome. Please leave a message on the on the Anchor app, or find me on YouTube and leave a comment there as well. That's all I have for you guys today, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at SuperProducerGM. You can also find me on YouTube by searching for Gregory Martin. Have a great day.